Education 1050, Critical Reflective Portfolio by Kyla Sibbald. Nelson Mandela preaches that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It is this statement that encompasses my passion to be able to teach, to be able to create an impact in the world. My ultimate teaching aim and goal is to be able to nurture, foster, and challenge the abilities of children to allow them to discover their potential. My chosen discipline areas are English and ancient history. As I embark on my teaching career, I hope to be able to learn a plethora of knowledge that I can bestow to the next generation that are interested in literacy or curious about the past. TPAC in teaching context. Undertaking Education 1050 in a reflection of my personal experience, I believe the content surrounding the deep knowledges of history is best suited for the integration of technology and teaching. This is because there is an overabundance of events, actions, and knowledge that have occurred and progressed throughout time that it would be impossible to teach one-on-one. In comparison, while the integration of technology I believe is well suited for history, English, however, I think is less suited. With learning language and learning the writing of great writers, authors and poets, such as Shakespeare, Jane Austen and Wordsworth for example, an understanding is better established via humanistic senses. In my experience, my understanding of English was better developed by the one-on-one interactions with the teacher. When dealing with literacy, in-depth analysis and deconstruction of literature is better processed through explanation. Technological pedagogical content knowledge, or TPAC, is described as an argument that pedagogically sound applications of technology require teachers to integrate their knowledge on content, pedagogy, and technology rather than thinking of them as separate domains of knowledge. The importance of TPAC is high. Modern day society is becoming more technologically advanced. In order to meet the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority's learning guidelines and the Queensland Curriculum and Assessment Authority literacy and numeracy indicators, the integration of technology and teaching is needed. Through the research and personal experience throughout Education 1050, the utilisation of innovative online applications, software and games does enhance the quality of teaching. To specifically adhere to the ACARA Level 5 capability, we identified a challenge that students may be faced with in locating and retrieving credible and accurate sources. The internet is made up of an accumulation of facts and fiction. As a teacher, to help the students overcome locating false information that would in turn deter their understanding of real events, we can support them by making them aware of key questions to keep in mind when using sources. To help overcome this, a great website is the College of Columbia. They illustrate a critical evaluation of the background of sources that proves their reliability that students can use to validate their information. A strength of incorporating TPAC into the classroom is that, used wisely, it enhances the understanding and learning of content. In my experience, it did just that. The utilisation of technology supported the foundations of knowledge I wanted to teach the group and stimulated their interest. Through Education 1050, contributing weaknesses were identified in relation to addressing the ACARA and adhering to the standards of the QCAA, and that is the individual ICT capabilities of the teacher and the issues surrounding cyberbullying and cyber safety. In reflection, technology isn't a replacement for pedagogical content. It was more so a supportive mechanism that helped to foster what I was trying to get across. It rather contributes another dimension to how knowledge is understood. Possible ways to overcome these challenges could be enforcing a mandatory ICT integration and TPAC course for pre-surface teachers, and for schools to enforce web restrictions that will better students' attentiveness of online access and help improve cyber safety. Online resource and skills of curation. During the online resource and skills of curation task, what worked well was how, as a team, we communicated to each other to form ideas and established a good link to the Year 7s. Additionally, our use of statistics to corroborate our claims and our Q&A time were strengths of our presentation. I found as a team we did well to share the workload and utilise each other's strengths to effectively gather appropriate content and resources. The challenges that we came across during the construction of this activity was how to use the digital platform Pinterest. Reflecting on my experience, I had not used Pinterest prior. Getting to know the functionality of it was a hurdle for me. I was stuck in how to approach it, but with the help and support of my group mates, I conquered this obstacle, which allowed me to contribute more to the task. The feedback obtained from this activity I interpreted as respectful critical feedback with good intentions for improvement. It was helpful and useful to get insight back of how well we did and how we could improve for the next task. As I continue my journey as a teacher, the valuable skills I should take note of as I prepare online resources to my future classroom is open-mindedness to new things, collaboration, and acceptance of critical feedback. Assessment tasks and skills of collaboration. Some components that stood out for me during the assessment tasks and skills of collaboration activity was the effectiveness of sparking attention. The digital platform Prezi was an eye-opener for me. I had not used it prior and now know how well of an educational tool it is to use in the classroom, thus my choice of medium to present this task. Another key component comprised of this task that stood out to me was the collaboration of my group. With the feedback obtained from the prior task, it aided in fostering our thoughts and ideas that in turn proved useful for the construction of our Prezi, improving our feedback for this activity. An area that proved problematic was accurately adhering to the Year 8 capabilities. With contrasting ideas and opinions in our group, some group members struggled to understand. Nevertheless, we lifted them up and helped them to understand the required capabilities needing to be expressed, and how we could deliver an appropriate and stimulating presentation. As I reflect on this, some practical knowledges that I can bring into my future attempts to create assessments are a strong focus to the capabilities that are needing to be developed, a vast insight into requirements that must be addressed, and the process of assessment development. It has taught me that the integration of digital platforms that will enhance knowledge, such as Prezi and Kahoot, will benefit learning and testing, and micro-lessons and skills of creation. The micro-lessons and skills of creation task was extremely beneficial in my reflection, especially in learning planning skills. Some positive experiences I received from this activity was the ability to harness areas of familiarity and expertise to adhere to the Level 6 capabilities, overall devising a well thought out planned micro-lesson that targeted the understanding of the demonstration of communicating with ICT, and overall the progression of our presentation and teaching skills. Though it was better compared to tasks 1 and 2, from the feedback provided from our critical friends, there were areas for improvement, which I will be taking into account when I teach a classroom of my own. These include keeping questions short and precise to maintain clarity in mind so that what's being asked is understood, and being able to be processed to prompt a response. Providing definitions to better understandings of content, and when using digital platforms to aid in teaching, ensuring the visualization of it can be read clearly for optimal understanding. Concluding statement. Overall, the insights I have encountered as I undertook a critical reflection of my experiences with teaching and learning ICT are inspiring. I am inspired to introduce TPAC to my own classroom. The insights that I have discovered in the use of technology in teaching is that the utilization of digital platforms to aid the teaching of content in the classroom proved to be beneficial. They stimulate interest and convey meaning and knowledge that further develops an understanding better than that of an explanation alone. It has given me the insight to be able to plan a lesson with content that effectively adheres to the required capabilities that are essential to learn and to be able to do. It has provided me with an awareness that each child learns differently. Technology can be tweaked to suit the learning needs of students. For example, visual, auditory, verbal, and kinesthetic. Moreover, it has given me insight into how, by incorporating technology in the classroom, I can plan formative and summative assessment. A highly beneficial aspect of Education 1050 in relation to critically reflecting over these experiences was the classroom dating game interactions with other students that focused on personal likenessness to draw inspiration and develop ideas to form the last assessment piece. Here you can see pictures that exhibit social traits being utilised to gather understandings by questioning each other on our experiences. For myself, I found this activity very useful as it prompted valuable, honest answers that have helped in the development of my portfolio. I benefited well from this activity as it encouraged open-mindedness to the overall impact that technology in the classroom can have. My critical friends have supported me along my journey with their honesty and feedback that has helped shape an aspect of my teacherhood, ultimately providing me with value preparation for my teaching aspirations. I do acknowledge, however, that technology is sometimes, without warning, unreliable. As I and my group experienced, it has the tendency to disappoint just when you are relying 100% on it. In saying this, I am aware that as a teacher, I think it is responsible that a backup plan is always on hand just in case circumstances prove doubtful. After this experience, I will be incorporating into my own classrooms several digital platforms such as Prezi, Kahoot, Pinterest, and Padlet. In relation to my discipline areas, I believe Padlet is a very useful tool to use in history and English as it allows students to have a voice they might usually confine for fear of embarrassment. It also helps bridge the gap between teacher and student relationships. To conclude, in relation to my teaching aims and goals, I do believe the incorporation of ICT in the classroom will certainly allow me to nurture, foster, and challenge the abilities of children in teaching to discover their potentials and for them to make an impact in the world. Just as Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.